situation.
Okay.
It's either if you want, you can hold on to the fact that he was sad because he was going to die on the cross, or he was sad because.
So you're saying his will throughout was
the Father's will.
the Father's will?
Throughout.
Never. So
Yeah,
he's
but
wrong.
He can still.
Your body's wrong. Your body's wrong.
Is to do the Father's will.
Okay.
But the reason why he points out that he has to do the will of the Father is because whilst being fully man, he's got everything a man has got would have.
Yeah.
Also meaning human will.
Okay.
So, but he's human. That's why with us, we have to keep telling ourselves that we don't want to do everything of our own accord, but to do what the Father tells us.
Yeah.
Because by that point, he's saying, I'm not doing anything my flesh desires me to do, because my flesh desires me to be in sorrow, to be in pain, to want to run away right now. But I'm going to allow my will to my true will, which is the Father's
this
will.
argument that he always does the Father's will.
Yes.
So they have the same will.
They have one will. God
They have
has
one will. They have one will. Yeah.
Yeah. But different interpretations throughout the Trinity.
So when Satan is tempting Jesus in the desert,
Yeah. He's tempting God.
is he tempting the Son against the Father?
Let me tell you. So in Matthew 4 verse 7, Matthew 4 verse 6, he tempted him with the bread, and Jesus said to him, man shall not live by bread alone,
Yeah.
but every word that comes out of the mouth of God. That's to do the will of the Father.
Okay.
Everything is to do the will of the Father.
Yeah.
Second temptation is what I want to focus on. The devil takes him to a high place,
Yeah.
and he said,
I just want to mention also the high place. It's overlooking the entire world, right?
Yeah, we don't.
So
really know, it just says high place.
how can you say the Bible doesn't preach a flat Earth when he can see the entirety of the
That's
Earth?
not really flat Earth theory.
Yeah, it is, because he can see the entirety of the Earth from his high
but
mountain.
These are spiritual people. Like it doesn't need to be in one place to see.
But I'm just indicating that it kind of points towards a flat Earth.
I understand what you
Sure,
mean, but it
sure.
doesn't negate flat Earth.
Okay.
But the devil tempts him with a high place that if you're the Son of God, jump. He said he would send his angels to come and save you.
Yeah.
But you have to use when we look at our theology, we don't just take one part of it and then run with it. We have to look at everything that's happening there.
Yeah.
The person that he's speaking to,
Yeah.
the devil, Lucifer, that knows Jesus Christ, the Son of God,
Yeah.
the same in essence.
Yeah.
When Jesus said to him, "For it is written that again it is written, do not tempt the Lord your God."
Okay.
For the everyday person, they will be like, "How you doing, man? God bless, God bless." You know. To the everyday person, they'll be like, "Yes, it means don't tempt God," and more times they'll point out the Father. But to the devil that he was speaking to, that understands the triune nature of God, the devil knew that Jesus was saying, "You're tempting." The devil wasn't tempting the Father. The devil was tempting Jesus. The devil knows Jesus. Jesus said, "Don't tempt your God." The devil knows that he's saying, "Don't tempt me."
Okay.
Jesus was confessing to be God at that point.
So is the temptation, you just said, the temptation is about Jesus, the figure, against God, right? So the devil is tempting Jesus against God.
The devil was tempting Jesus
The Father.
against God.
God the Father or
Yeah.
Jesus himself?
He was telling Jesus to tempt the Father. But
No, okay. I'll make it clear. So, okay. The devil is tempting Jesus,
He was
right?
tempting
Is it
Jesus.
tempting Jesus, the human,
to test God.
against his Jesus, the divine nature? Or is it tempting Jesus, the entire figure,
The entire
against the
figure.
Father?
He's tempting Jesus the
The entire figure. How is this possible if Jesus is a God in his entire figure?
Because
God cannot be tempted against himself. Because God, whatever decision God makes, that would be God's decision.
I can't remember the passage. I think it's James or First Peter.
Yeah.
It says Jesus, be humble like Jesus, although in the same essence of the Father,
Yeah.
did not take authority, to not grasp authority on that to run with, but yet submit himself into the will of the Father. So he came as a servant.
Okay.
So the devil understood that he came as a servant, and he can tempt him directly. That doesn't mean that he's tempting God. But then what you have to look at, what the passage says. The devil was tempting Christ. Jesus from the devil. But Jesus says, if it's according to Jesus in relation to the Father, is do not test the Lord your God. He's telling us Christians to not that are in faith, that don't think because you're in Christ, you're playing God of the Lamb, you're just playing genie, or give me this, or if you do this for me, I'll worship you.
But that's a consequence.
Christ.
That's not talking about the historical event that happened, right?
But in that same situation, the devil was tempting Christ. So
The devil was tempting Christ in his entirety.
Yeah.
And then he said, don't tempt. Don't tempt.
Don't test the Lord your
But
God.
you can't tempt something that is untemptable.
Christ humbled himself to allow that. He left his
Can
glory.
you tempt God? Can you tempt God to go against God?
If God comes on, takes on human flesh and walks amongst us as a human being, then I can tempt him and be like, yes, like how about
But
you do
the
this?
temptation
Because
is to
even-
test
look at
if
it-
he's
look at
God
it-
in the
look at it
first
like
place.
this.
Okay, no,
Look at it like this.
yeah.
I'll give you a positive
Sure,
scenario.
sure.
When Jesus first started off like his ministry and started breakthrough and all of that were in the wedding when Mary asked him
Yeah.
to change I've asked him that there was no
But
more
can-
wine. So the
I feel like
human
this-
beings
yeah.
are able to ask God of something.
Can Jesus sin? Could Jesus have sinned
No.
in that moment?
No.
Okay, so he couldn't have sinned in that moment, right? He couldn't have sinned.
Yeah.
Can you be tempted to do something that you can't do?
What? Okay.
Okay, like a frog. You know, there's a story of the princess. I'm sorry to make it crude, but there's the princess that
Okay,
kisses the
let me
frog.
re- let me
The
restore-
princess that kisses the frog, right? So, can the frog ever be tempted to kiss a princess? No, because it doesn't have that inclination. It doesn't have that temptation.
But
So,
let me rephrase
yeah.
what
Sure.
I said. Can Jesus sin? I would vaguely, not fully.
Yeah.
I'll vaguely say he can do whatever, but God does not. God does not sin. He chooses not to.
So he has the option to sin.
When he was a human being,
Yeah.
the reason why he got tempted is he could have fallen vulnerable to the temptation that was offered. That's why he got tempted in the wilderness. But Jesus did not fall for that trickery because he is ultimately God.
Okay, so he has the option to sin. So if the option was there and he took it, what would happen to your theology?
It breaks.
It breaks.
Yeah.
But the fact that that option is there
Then
means
we'll-
that.
then
Do you see what I'm saying?
then
If the
it's
option
not
is
a true
there,
God.
if that is
Which is why
possible.
we love the fact that he didn't.
Okay. Let me explain it like this. The princess and the frog. Your buddy's gone, by the way. I don't want to. Okay, so the princess and the frog. The frog cannot be tempted to kiss the princess, right? In the traditional sense, in the lustful sense, right? Because
But
the frog
if you're
doesn't
saying
lust
that's
after
like-
the princess.
Okay, but if you're saying that, then the woman cannot be tempted to kiss the frog.
Sure. But I'm saying, I'm talking in, okay, I'm using it in the sense of lust, right? So the princess cannot lustfully kiss the frog, and the frog can't lustfully kiss the princess, yeah? So if you tempt the frog by saying, kiss the princess, you can't tempt the frog to kiss the princess.
Okay. Well, within that same analogy, I'll correlate
sure.
it to Christ here.
Sure.
Whilst tempting, you are also offered something which might, like, let's say the princess and the frog here. If she got tempted to kiss the frog and it's not within her nature to be attracted to a frog,
Yeah.
if I double dead her or triple dead her, like, and I said I'll give you 1,000 pounds if you kiss a frog, someone then can go against their nature.
So you're saying the same could happen to God? Someone can tempt God to do that?
Well, that's what the devil tries to do, but God doesn't go against his nature.
Yeah, but
People can
But
perceive
okay,
it
okay,
as-
okay. The princess.
people can
Okay, no,
perceive it as,
perfect,
but doesn't mean
perfect.
that God
You mentioned the frog. Someone tempts the princess to do it, right? Like as a dare, right? But that is a temptation itself. So okay, she can still be like okay. That you just thank you. You just broke that whole thing up. So I'm talking about can you make this tripod? Can you tempt this tripod to commit
Start
murder?
walking.
Can you tempt this tripod to commit murder?
No, the tripod
No.
is not a personal being.
Sure. So the tripod cannot be tempted, right?
It's not a personal being. It cannot agree to anything.
Okay. So Jesus can be tempted.
He is a personal being. He can have a conversation.
Okay.
Just
So-
because you're having.
I don't understand this personal
the
being
is,
thing because if I say,
the
can you
temp-
teleport?
no,
Can you go
no.
to Australia right now?
The
You
reason
can't.
why I'm saying the reason why I'm because hey sir, how you doing? You're equating the temptation to submission to the temptation. Just because someone tells you something doesn't mean that you ultimately have to go towards it. You know.
Yeah, but then if I tell you something and you have no
can't-
lust, you have no
Okay.
nothing. If I tell you
The same with the
okay,
tripod.
with the tripod. If I tell you,
I can tempt the tripod,
you could tempt the tripod,
but the tripod in its nature is not going to fall for the temptation.
but that's not a temptation. That's just
I'm still tempting
that's just
the
you being
tripod.
crazy.
Yeah, so the devil was being
But that's
crazy.
no,
Thank
no.
you very much. The devil was being crazy
No,
at
no,
that
no,
moment.
no, but
The
you
devil
can't
was
say
being
you
crazy at
can't
that
say the
moment.
tripod. You're saying the tripod was tempted.
If I tempt the tripod and it's not in the tripod's nature to sin, then
You see the point?
then I'm the one that's crazy. The same way once the devil was tempting Jesus
So when
Christ.
people write about what happened between you and the tripod, they're gonna say the tripod was tempted.
Yes. Well, they can say he conveyed words of temptation to the tripod, but the tripod didn't fall for it. It's still an accurate description of
That's funny.
what
It's just
happened.
funny though.
I know, I love it. I love
Fair.
it. But if it's not Jesus, it's not in Jesus' nature to sin. Yeah. So once the devil was tempting him, you just verified actually. Once the devil was tempting him,
Yeah.
and it's not in Christ's nature to sin. It then verifies how crazy the devil was, because he thought because he was the ruler of this world, he can tempt every human being.
But temptation means, we just agreed that temptation means you have the ability to do that thing.
It doesn't mean no.
We agreed earlier in the
conversation.
conversation. Yeah, so you can't tempt the tripod.
So-
in my understanding, you can't tempt the tripod because the tripod cannot be tempted
Yeah.
because the tripod is a tripod.
So you you can't tempt God. So
Yeah,
even
so
though he
when we talk about the tripod-
you said it before. You
Yeah.
said it before. If I'm tempting the tripod,
But you
I'm
can't
the one
tempt the
that's-
tripod.
Yes, you can. I can tell the tripod.
No, that doesn't
do
work.
This, but the tripod is not going to do it because it's not in its nature. God, it's not in God's nature to
okay,
sin. So
let
once
me-
the
let me-
devil
let me
was
just
tempting
understand
him-
how it's
Wait,
written
let
in the
me
Bible.
finish, let me finish. Once the devil was tempting him,
Yeah.
and it's knowing God's nature to sin, and Jesus didn't fall for the sin, it makes the devil looks crazy. It's like you're tempting the tripod out of his nature.
Okay, so doesn't it say Jesus was tempted?
Yes.
Yeah. So if I write about this incident with the tripod, can I say the tripod was tempted? No.
can
Because
say-
it's incomprehensible to tempt a tripod.
Well,
So you can't write Jesus
what
was
do you mean?
tempted.
It can be-
According
it
to
can
your
be,
argument.
but
According to
I'm
your
the one
argument.
tempting the tripod. If someone writes it, they can write a story saying, yes, the tripod was tempted, but it's
No,
convey
that's the.
message.
You see, you
How
can't
is that
write.
contradict-
You can't write the tripod was tempted
Yes, you
if the
can.
tripod could not be possibly tempted.
Yes, you can.
No, you
but
can't.
You can write the tripod was tempted, but the guy was crazy.
The tripod was tempted.
Yes.
The
It
tripod.
makes
No,
it-
what
it-
you write.
well,
What
you
you
know why?
write.
You know why? Once you write the tripod was tempted,
Yeah.
your
You're
context,
incoherent.
the context, the context you're trying to convey is the person who's tempting the tripod, knowing that it's out of his nature, is the one that's crazy because the tripod cannot be tempted.
No,
So you can't
you're
still
saying
say
the tripod was tempted if you write the tripod was tempted. Look,
Yeah,
let me
yeah,
explain like
yeah,
this.
you're conveying a different message
If
than
you
the
try,
tripod falling
if you
for the
try
wheel.
and tempt the tripod to jump, right?
Yeah,
You try and tempt the tripod to jump.
yeah. I have
If I write about this situation,
Yeah.
I can't write the tripod was tempted to jump. I have to write Yab
Yeah.
was crazy. The tripod is not going to jump because you can't tempt the tripod.
Oh no. You're gonna write Yab was crazy because he tried to tempt a tripod.
Yeah, but you don't write the tripod was tempted because that's what it says in the
But
Bible.
That's literally what the message is conveying. It's saying by saying that Jesus was tempted,
Yeah.
it's saying that the person who tried to tempt him is crazy.
No,
Because-
no.
Yes, it is. It's exactly the same
Okay. You're crazy. I'm gonna try and finish up because I know we're kind of we have a difference of opinion.
boy
But
is calling
you try and make the tripod jump. The tripod doesn't jump. I write about the incident. I will write the tripod was not tempted by Yab to jump because the tripod cannot be tempted to jump. I won't write the tripod was tempted to jump by Yab.
You can write that. You can write it in whichever perspective you want.
Yeah.
But whilst writing the story, are you not going to say, Yab tried to tempt a tripod, but Yab is crazy because his tripod cannot be tempted?
Yeah.
Exactly.
No,
That's exactly
but
the
I'm
same thing
saying
that's going on.
okay. No, I'll show you. I'll quickly finish. Just give me 1 sec. Can you hold this 1 sec? Sorry.
Yeah, sorry. It's exactly the same thing that's going on. Because whichever perspective you write, it's still going to convey the same thing. One person was crazy because something is not in the other person's nature. Let me hold this. Fine.
No, it's fine. Okay. Maybe next time we can revisit the topic I was talking about earlier.
Yeah.
About the.
I've been.
That was quite a long one. I didn't really express it well.
Okay. I would like to elaborate more on the contradiction that I've
Yeah,
trying to
sure.
pattern up.
So it's like then Jesus was led by the Spirit into the wilderness to be tempted by the devil. Yeah. So I cannot write. Then Tay led the tripod into Speaker's Corner to be tempted by Yab, because the tripod
enough.
cannot be tempted.
Fair enough, but Jesus Christ being your human being,
Yeah.
every man gets tempted. So which is why it is okay to have that passage
Yeah.
there.
Every man
You
gets
know,
tempted, but
every
not
man-
God cannot be tempted.
Well, God, Jesus is also truly man. He is truly, by saying truly man, is in every way that a man, or what makes a man,
Yeah.
he is ultimately that. And he
Anyway.
is truly good.
I want.
You know,
I agree
I
to
appreciate
disagree. And also, man, I just want to say, like, I really appreciate having a conversation with you. It's really
you too,
nice.
man. I
and
love talking to
It's
you,
great.
man.
And
I know I can have like really decent conversations with people in the corner, but over here, like a brother got punched, and they
What,
try to
today?
accuse me. Yeah, they try to accuse me of punching, retaliating, and they're victim blaming. Every week we get beaten up here in the corner, and I don't want to come off like I'm insulting, I'm disrespecting people in their theology.
Yeah.
But once these things are being thrown at me, I do match people at
well,
their
yeah,
energy.
hopefully, like,
you know.
I feel like
And I
there's
really
a lot
appreciate
of
nice
there's a lot of
conversation
like
this.
there's a lot of tension in the park,
Yeah,
right?
I know.
Between,
But I love conversations like this because you can then talk without insults. But when
Yeah.
people throw insults, I only match people's energy where they're at. You know, I'm only saying this for the Muslim channels because they come to this to the park every week and they point to me out specifically saying, "You're always trying to start a fight every week." I'm not. I'm always trying to defend the brother and the sister. You know.
Okay, so it always stems from you thinking that you're defending.
Yeah, they come to me directly and they say, "Oh, I saw a video of you trying to start a fight," and I'm like, "No, I was defending a brother and a sister."
Okay.
You know, and they make it seem like I'm like Siraj that's always trying to get into.
No,
people.
that's not. But yeah, no, I understand. But yeah, no, I appreciate
I
it.
really appreciate it.
No worries, man. Take
God
care.
bless y'all, man. You know. Have a nice day, man.